That's open? Holy shit. Oh my God.
What's up, Brite Nation? We still don't have any shocks, but I do have time, and there's one other big job that we have to do to the stepchild for she can roll out of here. I need to put an exhaust in her. Let me show you what we got. We got a table full of Magnaflow parts. If you remember, the old one came out of the headers, went underneath the transmission bell housing, then up over the front drive shaft and collected with the driver's side header. Now that we have the Atlas, we have a whole bunch more room under here to run all kinds of good stuff. I do love catalytic converters. I'm not gonna lie. Some of you guys are gonna hate me for that. I hate the way like the newer cars smell so bad when you don't have the cats in them. Call me a wuss. I don't need my eyes burning out when I'm in the shop or whatever. I like the catalytic converters because it just scrubs the smell. Old times, long time ago, cats used to rob horsepower. Today they're extremely efficient, and I'll show you some cool ones here in a minute. But we have a lot of room to run cats and a muffler and a full exhaust. Now, Kevin had the bright idea that the Bronco has Baja mode. I know you saw that video. So he has quiet mode and Baja mode. Flip of a switch, it goes from like quiet and tame in the neighborhood to loud and obnoxious on the freeway. Kevin had ordered some parts for this to do that, but packaging, we don't have the ability to do it. But let me show you what we do have. We got some really cool parts that will do some space saving. So you gotta have somewhere for the flex to be because the motor is gonna move, the chassis doesn't. So this is gonna be your flex. This is internally convoluted and not internally meshed. These ones will take more velocity, more power, more heat without coming apart inside. If you remember the Ferrari exhaust video, when we took the headers off before we put the Klein exhaust on it, the inside of that one bellow was mangled. The mesh doesn't like high volume, high horsepower, high velocity, high heat stuff. So this guy will do much better. So we're gonna run two of those. We're gonna put it all together with V-bands. You can remember these. So I have some 2.5s and some 3s. The reason we have 2.5s is because Kevin wanted to run a bypass. So we were gonna put an OTP, electronic cutout valve, in there. And what that would have done is we would have had 3-inch out of the exhaust and it would have went straight out. And then we would have had a 2.5-inch go through, well, actually the 2.5 would have been on here. We would have cut this off to 3. It would run out the 2.5 through a muffler right here. No, it's actually that one. Through this, and then when you open the valve, it would run out the 3-inch. But again, packaging, and I'll show you why. Also, this is your standard catalytic converter, right? Got the meshy stuff inside of there, and this is what a cat looks like. Now, this one I am going to use. But this one is going on Phoebes when we get to the mess that's on it. Anyway, we're not using that. We're going to use these cool 3-inch catalytic converters. We also have a 3-inch builder's kit. Now you can order this straight from Magnaflow just like this. This box will pretty much do a full exhaust from the manifolds all the way to the tailpipe minus a muffler and a cat. So this is a full box of pipe. Comes with 90s, 45s, straights, adapters, bellows, or the flex. This is what would go to your stock manifold. There's just a lot of cool stuff in this box. It also comes with hangers and the rubbers. So this is an entire kit to be able to run a V8 with a 3-inch exhaust. I'm gonna dig all these parts out and show you everything that comes in the box. But this is what we got to put in her. So let me show you what Kevin's brain was thinking. So I did a little doodle for you. So this is what Kevin's original idea was. Both headers on the V8. We would come out a header, 3-inch pipe out of both of them. They would then go to a collector, then they would go to a Y pipe. We'd put the valve on the Y pipe. When the valve is closed, it forces all of it, the exhaust, through a 2.5-inch muffler and then back out to 3-inch and out the tailpipes. When he wanted sport mode, this valve would then open up because this is 3-inch and this is 2.5. The path of least resistance would be to go out the 3-inch, bypassing the muffler all by itself. So this would have been the path of least resistance, and the exhaust would essentially be louder. This will cancel out harmonics and stuff. So if you pinch this down here, that exhaust wants to go down the 3-inch side. Will this be full straight exhaust sound? No, because some will still travel through this 2.5. The majority will go through the 3-inch. This could be flipped also, so the 3-inch would go straight through and the valve would be here. I just drew it this way. For packaging reasons, you can do whatever you want, but yes, the path of least resistance probably would be the 3-inch to go this way. This is just showing you how this system would have worked if Kevin would have gotten his way. With that being said, there will be a drive shaft right here. It'll have to collect on this side because there's too much stuff going on over here. The fuel lines are over here, most of the wiring, everything's over here. The only thing over there is brake lines, which I can deal with. Now, I have a whopping 24 inches between this cross member and that cross member to stick a muffler, that valve, and a whole nother piece of pipe. And then turn and come out of this, go over this link. Don't mind these are just out of the way. This is all gonna get cut. Go around this, go over this link, and then go out. There is no way humanly possible that I can put a muffler, a valve, a collector, basically a Y pipe, another Y pipe, and then turn it and go out of that cross member. So this is what comes in the builder's kit. You get 4 90s, 4 45s, 2 180s, 2 collector guys, a bunch of hangers, some rubbers, and you also get 2 weld-in bungs for the O2 sensors. And you also get 2 4-foot pieces of straight stainless. Now the stepchild already has 2 O2 bungs that are welded, or that come right in the end of the manifolds. So I don't need those 2. So I'll add those to my collection. But that's what I have to do. I have a couple of random pieces upstairs too from like old kits and stuff. But I guess let's see what we're gonna do here to get this thing in. Oh yeah, one more thing. This is what Kevin thought was gonna fit under the stepchild. This thing is like 32 inches long. It's not gonna fit. Look at the size of this. This is not gonna fit. Kevin, what do you... I don't even think this will fit under the Jeep by itself. This thing is gigantic. I mean, next to the trash can. Look at... It's taller than the trash. This thing is gigantic, Kevin. That's what she said. All right, enough of the jokes. I have 2 V-band 3-inch right off the manifold, so I'm gonna start there. So we're gonna go get some 3-inch V-bands. Probably goes directly straight into those two small catalytic converters, which should sit about here and there. I also got some heat wrap, which I haven't done doing this yet. I haven't gotten that far, but this will all be heat wrapped because the exhaust is gonna run through here. And then I have to turn and go directly under this and collect over here. So let's get some caps in there. All right, before we get the Multimatic 220 out and start welding on this, I have a couple of tricks for you if you haven't seen them before. Basically, I'll take a piece of the 3-inch, about 1.5 inches long, and what I like to do is recess it into the V-band, and I like to do that because then when you put the 2 pieces together, they self-locate. So that's why I like to do it this way. I'm gonna tack this guy with a little bit sticking out, and I'm gonna tack it on this back side so that when I put it in this piece, there'll be a little space, and then I can make sure I weld all 3 of these things together at the same time. So just take some random 3/16, set it down, the flange on top so I have a nice gap, and I'll go ahead and tack it on in 3 spots. And now, you see there I have a nice gap all the way around that I can make sure I penetrate, and I can get all 3 pieces welded together with a nice perfect flange on top. And that's how we're gonna do it. The next morning, and I was out here with Kevin this morning, and in typical Kevin fashion, he was trying to change up some ideas, but I quickly reeled him in, and I'll tell you why. So here's the bottom of the Jeep, passenger, driver. It's got to go out. We have to exit up somewhere in this vicinity, go back, go over these top links because they're bent, so we'll have to go over these top links if we were going to go either way. There's actually plenty of room now. If there's no spring in there, there's plenty of room to get over the rear axle and then down and out the back. Now, we are losing the sway bar that runs through this tube, and we're going to put it behind the tank, which is great. I'll have an arm over here and an arm over there. I have to go down that frame rail because the arm sits on the outside over here. Right now, I'm going to try to get the cat, or the flex and the cat to here. On this side, I have to watch out for the drive line because there is a drive line from there to there. So I just have to be on that side of that drive line. I've already heat wrapped all of the T-case cable, except for back here. I didn't get that far. I'm just trying to get it up here. This group of wires and fuel line and everything are heat wrapped. I have room there too. That's not a big deal. And we're gonna see if we can get out that side with a muffler. But right now, these two guys. QTP stands for Quick Time Performance. They make exhaust valves and stuff. Please do not buy the cheap imitations off Amazon. That's exactly what they are. You end up burning the motors out. Trust me, I know. I don't know, but I have seen many times. QTPs are a pretty good product. I'm not plugging them, by the way. I'm just saying we have used QTPs on a couple of cars and they are still on them today. So don't cheap out. First things first, that's just a regular 45 stuck up there and it worked out just fine. I know I need to get it off of there, but it's not welded. It's literally just sitting up in there. This side was a hair more than 45 and I already knew that, so I cut that one too. They're the exact same length to the flex and to the cat. This will be easy to do. Behind there is gonna be the fun part. So I'm just gonna get these guys tacked in right now and then we'll get to the fun part. So the Multimatic on a 16 gauge setting with 035. We got these bad boys all tacked up in here. It's a little tight on the clamp up there, but she'll move over just a little bit. And this one is here. Yes, I know this is touching, but it's because there's a clamp that's bolted up right there, so I can't get this up any higher. But I have room up here, so I can shove that up and get a longer clamp or put it in a different spot. I am gonna resheet that with like another piece of tin, so that it's like double insulated off of this cat. We will probably send these off to Jet Hot and get these coated, both of them. Actually, the whole exhaust, which would be really nice. So, with that being said, now for the fun part of creating like an X pipe right here. I need to create an X pipe and get it all together. All right, well, getting that piece in there was actually pretty easy. It's just a stock 45 around that end and a little curvy boy, boop, right into there. Now I get to collect that guy under there and swoopy whoopy it into there. This is the fun one. These are my favorite ones to do. So basically we're just gonna start with I think about a 45 and see where that gets us. Because my arms aren't any longer, we're gonna swoopy doopy that guy right into there like that. Long swoopy doopy guy over to here, whoop, something like that. So let's go cut that out on the bandsaw. And it should look a little something like this. Perfect. Now we just gotta do the other side, do the collector side over there. Tack up a couple of corner pieces. And then there, sits up all by herself. Now we just trace this piece out, and then we'll go cut that hole out, and then we'll weld that up. Once we get it out and on the bench, we verify here. That's about right. Now you want to stay about 1/4 of an inch inside that mark, because if it's too thin, you'll blow right through it when you weld it. So we're going to stay about 1/4 of an inch inside that mark, and we'll start walking it out from there if we need to, before we get it back in there and tack it all up. Right now I'm just going to cut it out about 1/4 of an inch inside that line. All right, I'll just go ahead and get this reinstalled. There we go. And we just push this one in here. She fits really good, really good. Oh, I'm so excited. Like, no gap. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get this all tacked up in here then. All right, now that we got it on the bench, you can see there's a gap here, but it's not from fitment. It's where the pipe starts to go straight. So I'm just gonna pinch this a little bit and get that in there. I mean, I guess I could have cut this a little bit longer and stuff, but whatever, it's fine. Just give it a little pinch there, pinch that in a little bit, weld it up, should be good. The fitment is really nice back here. I burned it through up there and it just fell, but it's pretty tight. I'll do a little bit more welding on all this stuff. All right, so we got it all welded up and all back in. Got it standing back up. I do got to put a hanger up in here somewhere, but we have a lot of clearance here And then I just took a couple pieces of scrap and got it up over this link. This is 3-inch. We are gonna go to a 2.5-inch muffler. And the reason we're going to a 2.5-inch muffler is because we're gonna try to cancel out as much sound as we can. But this is not gonna be restrictive at all, going from 3 to 2.5 through a muffler this far back, because we've gone so far away from the motor that temperature has cooled off and the velocity has slowed down. So we will go through this 2.5 and we will be just fine in doing it because the velocity is slowed down, so it's not going to choke it off as much. Yeah, I almost forgot to put a V-band there. So another V-band with a little bit sticking out, and the other one can locate. And then I found this bellow for 2.5, which fits in here, and then it fits in the 3-inch pipe, so I'll put the other V-band on there and then weld that into the V-band, and that's how that's going to go. Alright, so we have the muffler in. There's space above this bar. She's floating in here right now. I gotta put some mounts on it off the frame, but we'll do that in a minute. I want to come out in this area, and I want to go up over the drive shaft and then out this long tube to here, and then turning down the side of the gas tank and out this side for our wide open. Which means in this area right here, I need to put this QTP valve. So I think I have room to run it just like this, basically, right off of that guy. So it's a 3-bolt flange. If you come over here, we have a 3-bolt flange off of this Y pipe. Now I really like the fact that this is has a swivel on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this off. I was gonna use this whole thing, but we can't. It's not in the right angle, and it's at the bend here, so I couldn't use this. So we're gonna cut this off here and weld it onto this pipe. I know it doesn't have a gasket, so I've already ordered a gasket. We'll get it in without the gasket. I do have 2 of these Y pipes, so I'm gonna cut both flanges, so there'll be a flange on each side, and the whole thing will be, you'll be able to rotate the valve in there and make it fit perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this Y pipe, cut the other Y pipe, I'm gonna cut this pipe, chew some bubble gum, and stick them together. We'll get the valve in it. All right, and there it is, tacked up, 2 flanges cut off. I do have MLS gaskets basically coming for this with fire rings. Now we can loosen these bolts and we can orientate this motor wherever she needs to be, but this is free from this flange. They slide, so all we gotta do is loosen this thing up and move it around. All right, so we got that little guy welded on. Flange is on. It's a little warm right now. We'll go ahead and get this thing put back in the morning, and then all we got to do is make some tailpipes, and then Kevin wants to hear it. We'll do that in the morning. I will see you shortly. All right, we got everything back in. I just added a couple of pipes real quick to go up and over that bar. It gets us to the back side of the axle, so now we have 2 tubes out the back side of the axle. One is for straight pipe, and one is for quiet mode. Got a couple tailpipes whipped up, and there they are. Yes. I know this one's longer than that one, but it's because I cut these both the same, and then that angle back there, easy, easy. I just chop this thing off. They fit really well. Got a nice gap here. Same on the other side. I gotta put 2 hangers back here, one on each tailpipe, probably off the top of the frame right here. Yeah, we'll get it all apart one more time. Weld all the back half up, stick it in there and start it. Because, I mean, he's not really gonna, he can't change it. I mean, this is what it is. I'm kind of like out of time, and I really don't have anywhere else to put it, so 'tis what it is. And as far as the rear hangers, I know you've seen me use these before. They're called snappers. You can get them on Summit. You can get generic ones on Amazon if you'd like, but these are the real snappers. This bracket has a 3/4 hole in it. This bracket has a 3/8 hole in it, and I'll take it apart for you in a minute. This goes on the frame. This one goes on the pipe. That's where she's gonna go right there. She'll get welded in. For some reason, I'm short one. I can't find it. I don't know where it is, so I ordered some more. But I'll use this one to set up both sides.
Okay, so we have officially gotten to a point by we, Chris. Chris has officially gotten to a point where we are going to start the stepchild back up.
I helped. I stayed out of the way for days.
True, very true. We want to hear what the new exhaust sounds like, both fully opened and with the switch and the valve closed, et cetera, et cetera. If you remember, the last time we started this was with open headers, just to make sure that the fuel tank was all good,
It
set up.
sounded like a monster truck.
It sounded freaking gnarly.
Jeep. Here's what it
Yeah.
sounded like.
Yep.
But anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and get it started real quick and see how she sounds.
We have dual cats now. Before he had a little crossover pipe with a single cat.
Yeah. They watched the whole video. Start the damn thing.
So right now we're going through the 2.5-inch Magnaflow. Oh my God, that is quiet.
That's so quiet. Oh my God.
Hey! That sounds good.
It sounds fantastic. That's open? Holy sh**. Oh my God. The difference between totally shut and totally open. Now open it.
That Wi-Fi made it sound like a freaking...
Stop. You gotta stop. Our neighbors are gonna hate us. That sounds so f***ing good. Stop.
I thought I just sold the Ferrari.
Oh my God, that sounded like, have you heard a Hemi sound like it was at 8?
That was only at like 5,000.
I'm not gonna lie.
Holy sh**.
I was a little bit disappointed at first because you started with it
Closed. Which is great.
And I was kind of like,
It sounded,
that's kind of pathetic.
no, it sounded clean, like
For
what
like
you want to.
cruising on the highway on a long distance trip and
Or
you
on the
don't want
trail,
any
you don't
noise,
want-
or if you want a quieter trail ride. But then you opened it.
And it sounded like
Oh
I
my
started the
God.
Ferrari.
It honestly sound like
That is the most exotic sounding LS I've ever heard. Holy sh**.
exotic sounding LS. Did you say exotic sounding
Or
LS?
not LS, Hemi. I'm baffled. My mind is blown right now.
It is baffled. Only on one side, though.
That is the most. I want to hear that. Can you shut that off? I want to. Let me hear this.
Stop. You gotta stop. Our neighbors are gonna hate us. That sounds so f***ing good.
Yeah, you got to hear it in person. It sounds. The phone does okay. It is way higher pitched and crisp. It
More
sounds
violent?
Yeah, it sounds a little almost raspier on the phone. Where in person, it's like high pitched screaming in the best way possible.
That has got
It's-
to be the gnarliest sounding Jeep.
It's sick. Good job, Chris. That is sick.
That's freaking sick, guys. For now, that's all we got for you. Although did we tell them there's a package coming in today?
Yeah, my package came in today. Big package. We're gonna open it right on the beginning of the next
bigger.
video.
Next video, we finally got what we've been waiting for this entire time. But again, we'll see you next time, guys. As always, we love you. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Remember to find all your Lite Brite Nation merch and decals at britestudios.com. As always, we love you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.